Can you just tell me a little bit about your position and what you do?
Yep. I am the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade virtual school teacher for St. Johns County, Florida now. So, and
Awesome.
with the elementary program, we use the curriculum and the platform K-12, but we do it like privately as a district. So any elementary student that wants to do virtual school comes to the district through our virtual school program. And right now we offer K-12. We might offer more different options in the future. But so they use that curriculum, and my role is more of it's a teacher, but I also am more of a facilitator and monitor, because the parents are the ones that do primarily most of the teaching. Like on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's really neat. How did you get into virtual schools, and do you like it compared to traditional schooling?
Yes, I love it. I feel like, well, I was in the classroom for like 10 years, and I wasn't really looking to change until I had my daughter. And then I just wanted something with a little bit more flexibility, yet still teaching without like leaving and the career completely and staying home with her. I wanted to still kind of work. So I applied for virtual school jobs, I guess it was like 3 or 4 years ago now. And the problem I ran into was there's a lot of opportunities for middle and high school teachers and higher education, but not so much elementary. So there's not that much out there. It's still somewhat new and kind of growing, I feel like, for elementary kids. So when I applied, I actually got hired first directly working for K-12, and then I worked for them for 2 years. And then when I moved up to St. Johns County in St. Augustine, an old coworker of mine said that there was an opening where I would still be doing the same job, yet you would be working for the district. So pretty much just like, you know, how you are now as a teacher. You know, you work for like
Right.
the state and you're in the FRS and all that stuff. So I wanted to get back into the district level, so I jumped at
What do you think 3 most important traits as a leader or teacher needs to have to be successful in virtual schooling?
Definitely really good communication skills.
Okay.
Yeah, like you have to be proactive in your support for like the families, because a lot of families come in completely new to virtual school or completely new to homeschooling, period. So they need a lot of support. So phone call, you know, way more than just emails. A lot of long phone calls at the beginning. I text a lot. It seems to be like really good form of communication for most families. And then other traits would be organizational skills. Like as a teacher, especially working from home now, you have to be really disciplined and organized, not only with your time management, but just how you know, get resources to families and, you know, files to send them and things that you're sharing with them on a day-to-day basis. It's a whole different kind of way to organize things, because you're not physically giving out papers at the end of the day or writing notes home in planners. You have to convey all those announcements in a different way. So definitely organization. And then I think the last one, especially for elementary, would be like just kind of an energetic personality, I guess. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but it helps.
Definitely.
Because,
Of course.
yeah, it helps because you don't realize in the physical classroom how much of a kind of show you're putting on every day to keep the kids engaged. And when you are teaching virtually, you lose that. You have to, like I teach a lot of live classes through Blackboard, which is just like an online classroom. And,
right.
I mean, you have to convey and engage the kids and make them want to participate and feel comfortable and safe. And you have to do all that without them really, sometimes they don't even see me on video or they just hear my voice. So you have to really have like a high energy and kind of come up with creative ways to grab and hold their attention. So I think I gave you like 6, sorry.
Do you have any specific success like lessons or anything like that within your program?
Let's see. I would say what we do is we do like one-on-one conferences every month, and I feel like those are always huge successes because you really get to see the kids grow. And this is like the time, it's kind of like a conference that you would have with a parent, but you do it just with the students. And you're pretty much assessing them on all the lessons they've learned, like that month. So we go through, let's say I'm working with a fourth grader, like I would go through their last math unit. I would go through their last reading unit, writing, science, and history, and I would ask them questions. Sometimes I'd have them do work on the board for me. Sometimes it was just discussion-based, and they would answer, like, the question. Just so it's kind of like I'm checking up on them. So, like, all the lessons that they say that they're completing, I have to assess and make sure, are they actually completing and learning them, or do I need to do some sort of remediation? So I feel like that's a huge success because it's weird to think that, like, you're making connections with virtual students, because I was afraid of that when I started, but you actually sometimes feel like you're getting to know the kids and you have a better handle on their learning better because, like, nothing falls through the cracks, you know, because not often did I get a chance to work one-on-one every month with each of my fourth graders, like in the physical classroom, where I'm seeing them one-on-one do a math assignment, or I'm seeing them do a reading assignment, you know, so it's crazy.
What are some challenges you've seen in the program other than, like, distance or anything with, like, students, colleagues?
It is hard to, like, work with other teachers and be strictly virtual because you miss that camaraderie that you had, like being in the same hallway and just running across the classroom to each other. So you definitely miss that. That's a challenge, but that's more on, like, a personal level. The challenges with students and families that do virtual, I would say that it's more so like their expectation level and not really fully understanding what our program entails going into it. A lot of the parents, I think, like, will enter a virtual school program because maybe their child had a really hard time or was a behavior issue at their public school, and they're kind of out of options and they want to homeschool, but they want a little bit of support, and they don't realize that it's still a lot of work. So I think one of the biggest challenges is just really making parents aware of what to expect because we have a lot of withdrawals, and simply because the parents don't realize what a huge commitment it is and how much of their time and effort they have to invest in, like, their children's education every day. Because I could only do so much virtually as their teacher. The parents are really the ones that are sitting down and doing the math and doing everything and organizing the kids' days and getting their workbooks ready and stuff like that. They're doing all that. So if the parents aren't committed to that, we have a, withdrawal rate that's higher than it should be because they don't realize it's so much work.
Now, and I know there's the classroom management. Do you have a certain management style that you have to keep with your students online?
Well, through Blackboard, I would say, is where I do any type of classroom management, because I would have, there are times in, like, online classes where I'll have 20 to 25 students at a time for a lesson. So there is some sort of management there. And really the only way I can say I am successful at it is just kind of being proactive at the beginning of the year and doing, like, an orientation session with students and parents, making everyone involved so they know, like, these are the rules, this is how the format of the online lesson will go. Your student enters Blackboard, they do the warm-up, they wait for the directions, they're quiet during the lesson, and then a lot of it is just making sure the students know the Blackboard tools so they can participate and, raise their hand and chat in a chat box. So it's a lot of just kind of like you would do at the beginning of the year with your students to kind of set the tone and do the procedures. It's kind of like the same thing. And then throughout the year, during each of my online lessons, I always go through rules so the kids know exactly what's expected of them. I always go over what we're learning that day. And then there's a lot of consistency in the lesson, so they know kind of what the routine is, like if they want to share anything or talk on the microphone or do anything like that, they can hold it to the end. They'll have free time and that type of thing. So I would just say a lot of being proactive at the beginning of the year and a lot of consistency in the routine in the online lessons. Yeah.
My last question, would you recommend virtual schooling to students as well as for teachers?
I would, yes. I never thought I would say this, but yeah, it definitely is. It's not for all students and it's not for all families. Like I said, you have to be the families have to be dedicated, the parents have to be really committed. But in terms of students that, we have a lot of students with disabilities, learning disabilities, physical health issues. A lot of students are athletes or just very involved in some sort of extracurricular activity. And it's like a perfect program for them because they can make their schedule, they can work on their own time and get their work done and, still keep up with, whatever their grade level standards are. And for teachers, it's great because, like I said, you still have that connection to students, but it's just a whole new world of teaching. You use a lot of different programs that you never used in the classroom and a lot of different, different strategies with communication and things that I've definitely learned a lot as a teacher, being a virtual school teacher. And I love the flexibility of it, to be honest. That's the